Hey y'all, check this out. Sweden is considering sending the Meteor missile to Ukraine. Yes, the best air-to-air missile in all of Europe, possibly in the world. I know that's a big statement, but hang with me. United 24 dropped a story that should make every Russian glide bomb pilot feel slightly less immortal. Sweden is talking with Ukraine about transferring the Meteor air-to-air missile. Now, if you've followed this war for more than 10 minutes, you already know why that matters. Russia's biggest air advantage right now isn't dogfights, it's standoff attacks. Russian jets sit outside the danger zone, loft guided aerial bombs, and then head home like they just did cardio. Meteor is one of the few European weapons built to reach out and punish that routine. Hey friends, Wes here, military veteran of the U.S. Army Infantry with the 101st Airborne Division and the U.S. Air Force. Law grad and currently disgusted with the state of U.S. foreign policy. Here's what we know. Ukraine's Defense Minister Fedorov met with Sweden's Defense Minister Pål Johnson on February 1 to discuss what Ukraine called one of Sweden's largest aid packages. The Ukrainian readout says the package could include air defense systems and radars from Saab, financial support for Ukraine's defense industry, more electronic warfare, unmanned platforms including long-range strike drones, and deeper industrial cooperation tied to Brave 1. But the aviation piece also came up, and that included talk about the Saab JAS-39 Gripen and, crucially, Meteor missiles. Now, I'm going to say the quiet part out loud. Sweden can send radars, drones, and air defense gear, and that's great. But a credible Meteor pathway changes how Russia flies. It changes where Russian jets feel safe, and in this war, safe is the most expensive fantasy Moscow keeps trying to buy. Now, for the hard truth. A missile by itself doesn't win you air superiority. You need the platform that can fire it. You need the sensors to find the targets, you need the data links to update the shot, you need training, maintenance, and a command structure that can use beyond visual range weapons without shooting something friendly. Now that last part matters more than people admit. Ukraine can absolutely build competence fast, they've done it again and again, but Meteor is also a high-end NATO missile. It lives inside a NATO ecosystem. Sweden can't just toss it in a crate and send it to Ukraine with a good luck post-it note and call it done. Integration is the fight. So let's talk about what Meteor actually is, what it does differently, and how Ukraine could use it in a way that makes Russian aviation pay a price. Meteor is Europe's premier beyond visual range air-to-air missile. It's made by MBDA and it's designed to kill at long distances while keeping enough energy to finish the job when the target tries to evade. Most air-to-air missiles you hear about follow a basic pattern. They boost hard at launch, they coast, they start fast, and then physics takes over. And by the time they reach long range, they may arrive tired. That's when targets live. But Meteor's propulsion is the opposite mindset. It uses a solid fuel, variable flow, ducted rocket, commonly described as a ramjet-like system. The key is sustained thrust throughout much of the flight. That means the missile can manage energy, keep speed high, and still maneuver aggressively late in the engagement. That's the center of Meteor's reputation. It's no escape zone. Now that no escape zone is not marketing fluff, it's real. It's the portion of the engagement envelope where the target can't dodge the missile through maneuver alone. Targets can try to break lock, jam, dive, turn, accelerate, dump chaff, pray to the Slavic gods of Soviet avionics. The point is that the missile still has enough energy near the end to pull lead and finish the intercept. Meteor also isn't a dumb fire and forget stick. It's network enabled. It uses a data link that supports mid-course updates. That matters because long-range shots aren't static. Targets change altitude, speed, heading. A modern missile needs the ability to receive updates until its own seeker takes over and commits in the final phase. Guidance-wise, Meteor uses an inertial navigation with updates, then an active radar seeker in the terminal phase. That combination is standard for top-tier BVR missiles, but what separates Meteor is the engine and the in-game kinematics it can sustain. On speed, Meteor is often described as a Mach 4 class. On range, here's where we need a little bit of grown-up caution. Public sources often cite estimates over 200 kilometers, but the official number you'll see in public materials tend to be more conservative, and for good reason. Missile envelopes depend on altitude, launch speed, target aspect, and rules of engagement. Still, the consistent point across credible descriptions is that Meteor's effective reach and no escape zone outclass older Western BVR missiles in the same category, and almost everything Russia can field. Now, Meteor is already integrated on platforms like Gripen, on the Rafale, and on Eurofighter, with future integration planned for other aircraft and partner fleets. That platform list matters for Ukraine because the cleanest Meteor pathway runs through Gripen. Sweden operates Gripen with Meteor. Sweden controls its own aircraft ecosystem. Sweden can train, support, and sustain a Ukrainian Gripen line in a way that isn't theoretical. But I know what you're thinking. Wes, could Meteor be integrated onto other Ukrainian aircraft? Well, in principle, weapons integration is possible across a whole bunch of modern fighters. In practice, it takes time, it takes software access, flight testing, and political permission. But in wartime, possible and fielded live in about the same zip code. So how might Ukraine use Meteor if Sweden agrees to transfer it and a launch platform exists? Well, here are the real missions in plain language. First, countering glide bomb carriers. Russia's guided aerial bombs are a frontline terror tool. My very first YouTube video in September of 2024 talked about how Ukraine can use its F-16s to help push back that glide bomb envelope. And here we are now, a year and a half later, still talking about the same Russian terror tactic. Jets like the Su-34s and the Su-35s launch from standoff distances, often behind their own air defense coverage, then let gravity and guidance do the work. Now, Ukraine has two problems in that fight. Ukraine needs to detect the launch aircraft, and Ukraine needs a weapon that can reach it before it turns away or hides behind friendly Russian coverage. Meteor helps with the second part in a way older missiles struggle to match at long range. Sustained thrust means the missile arrives with energy. Energy equals maneuver. Maneuver equals kills. Even when the target tries to defeat the shot, even without constant kills, Meteor changes Russian planning. If Russian pilots believe an unseen Ukrainian fighter can launch a credible beyond visual range or BVR shot from farther out, they fly differently. They launch from farther away, they climb less, they turn sooner, they stop loitering, they stop feeling safe. Air combat is psychology layered over physics. A missile with a large no-escape zone shifts psychology fast. Third, high-value aerial targets. Meteor is designed to engage fast jets. Public descriptions also note it can be used against cruise missiles and UAVs in heavy electronic warfare environments. Now, that doesn't mean you need to fire it at every shot head. That means the weapon has the kinematics and the seeker logic to prosecute smaller, lower signature targets when needed. Now, going back to the top, here is why the Meteor is such a direct threat to Russia's glide bomb model. Russia's standoff sanctuary is a range problem. Russian jets want a bubble where they can launch, turn, and leave while remaining outside Ukrainian air-to-air reach. That model works when Ukraine's best fighter missiles lose energy at long distance, or when Ukraine can't get close enough without eating a surface-to-air threat. Meteor reduces that bubble. That no-escape zone reaches further. The endgame remains lethal. Russian pilots get fewer clean exits. That's the difference between deterrence and disruption. Deterrence asks Russia to behave. Disruption forces Russia to behave. And Russia hates being forced. It makes them sloppy. So zooming out, the Meteor discussion fits Sweden's broader posture in this reporting. Ukraine said the upcoming package could include Saab air defense systems and radars, more electronic warfare, drones including long-range strike systems, and financial support for Ukraine's defense industry. That's an architecture approach. Sensors plus shooters plus industry. And Meteor fits that architecture as the long-range punch in the air domain. It supports the same strategic goal: reduce Russia's ability to attack Ukraine from sanctuary. Now, if Ukraine gets a Meteor-capable fighter force, Russia's air calculus changes. Russia has used aviation to compensate for ground force incompetence, When their armor burns and their infantry bleeds, they reach for air-launch standoff. That's been the pattern. Media pressures that crutch. It also creates an interesting NATO-adjacent reality. Meteor is used by multiple European air forces. That means training pipelines exist, sustainment expertise exists, stockpiles exist, even if not infinite. Interoperability is real. It also creates political momentum if Sweden moves toward Gripen plus Meteor. Other European partners start thinking in ecosystem, not one-off donations. They start thinking about airframes, weapons, training, spares, basing. That's how a wartime air force becomes a post-war air power. And then there's one more strategic layer. Russia's best defense against BVR weapons is not just countermeasures, it's the ground-based air defense umbrella. Russian fighters try to fight with a SAM wall behind them. They use it like a shield. Meteor doesn't remove that shield. It makes the edge of the shield less comfortable. Because Meteor doesn't give a It forces Russian pilots to stay deeper undercover, which reduces their effective influence over the front. That's the point. Push Russian aviation back, narrow its options, make every sortie riskier. So Sweden talking about Meteor isn't a random headline. It is a signal, to me at least, that Europe is thinking about the part of the war that matters most right now, stopping Russia from killing Ukrainians at range while hiding behind distance and air defense. If Meteor actually transfers, and if Ukraine gets a platform that can fire it, Russia's glide bomb terror campaign against Ukrainian electrical grid infrastructure, those Russian bomb pilots lose their favorite luxury: predictable safety. And if you want the sharp irony, it's this. Russia started this war expecting Ukraine to run out of tools. Instead, Ukraine keeps collecting tools that force Russia to change tactics. Then they build their own tools to really drive the point home, rewrite the playbooks, and explain new failures to Moscow. I'm sure that conversation goes really well back at the Kremlin. Okay, that's it for today, my friends. Subscribing helps me stay motivated to put in all the work it takes to make these videos. Scanning the news, putting it in my own words, filming, color grading, editing, YouTube thumbnails, descriptions, all the things. So, thank you for considering subscribing. It makes this hard work worth it. And as always, glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes. Crimea is Ukraine.